My mother was very adamant from early age. She, I don't know how, but was able to afford us a Catholic education through grade school, through high school. And she scrimped, she saved, and she embodies the Catholic faith that she instilled into us, not only being able to take care of ourselves, but to take care of each other, and made sure that we were able to know that through our faith that we were able to take care of each other, and that there's hard times that always come upon you, but through your faith you can get through those hard times and to be able to provide for your family and for each other. So we're 100% family oriented, and hopefully that shows through our Catholic faith, is that we really enjoy working with our family, but also that we take the teachings of Jesus to that level. It's very much a work of mercy, and something that we take very seriously is that everyone has a calling in life, and our calling is this. And this is our way of giving back to our community, giving back to the church, giving back to humanity, is to be able to provide services to those regardless of their financial, religious, emotional state.
One of the things we've always mentioned too, with families and with Catholic cemeteries, is that it's a great organization. You don't have to be Catholic to be buried there. They maintain their cemeteries. Their personnel are wonderful to work with. And so that was kind of important to us too, people who listen to what their constituents wanted. So at that time we decided it sounded like a great opportunity, and we said yes. And it's been a great opportunity since.
It has. It's been a very fulfilling opportunity for us to be able to work so closely with Catholic cemeteries, and be able to have a rapport with the staff of Catholic cemeteries, to know that their business organization and profile is the same as ours. We have common ground. I think that the products that Catholic Cemetery pre-needs is we're very comfortable in the administration of those pre-needs, and that we know that the funds will always be there for taking care of their loved ones. And so in the past we've shied away from having any kind of pre-need products like that, because of there's been several insurance companies who have no longer in business because of their poor management. So we know that Catholic cemeteries, the products that they sell will be fully viable. And so that's important to us, that the families that we serve, they know that they're going to be able to have that product for the long haul. By pre-planning and pre-paying, then it takes that burden off the family to decide what they'd like to do or how they would like to do, that they know that mom and dad have set this aside and has made their wishes known, so they carry through with those wishes.
And also too, within those contracts too, that I've noticed, they will also list the church and the cemetery where they want to have their services and where they want to be buried. So I think that that's also helpful to the family to know that mom and dad made this decision. This is where they want their services. This is where they want to be buried at. So I think it's a burden taken off of them to try to figure this out. Is this what they wanted? When it's within the contract, so they know that somebody sat down with their parents and talked about what they would like, and seeing it in writing I think is helpful, that they know, okay, this is what mom and dad wanted, let's get it done, and let's get everything in place, and we'll fulfill what they wanted, their wish. So I think that's also helpful too, when they have that in print in front of them, that they know that they've discussed this with somebody else and now their wishes are going to be granted. I think sometimes it's hard for people to have this conversation with mom and dad or anyone within your family, but I think it's very important to sit down and have the conversation of what you want your final disposition to be, what you would like to see happen, with the service, where you want to be buried at. I think the more information you have, the better empowered you are to make the right decisions and do the right thing. It is a hard conversation to have, because the thought of somebody dying and not being with you anymore is hard. And unfortunately, at one point we will all meet our maker and things like that. But I think it's easier to have this discussion and have it out there and just know exactly what direction you need to go when this time happens and what you need to do. And it's just easier when it's right there in front of you, that you just pull open the folder and say, this is what mom and dad talked about. We sat down and this was the plan that they made with Catholic Cemeteries, and it's all right here, and now we just have to call and get everything in place for it to be taken care of. It's a hard conversation, but I think it's the best conversation. What happens is when this plan's in place, we get notified of the passing. So then at that time we pull the file, look at what kind of funeral arrangements they had set up with the pre-planning, and then once we see that, then we contact the legal next of kin and set up a time, have them come in and say, after looking at the contract and all the notes within the contract, we say, this is what they wanted. And then we start the process of, is this still what you want to do? What time works best for you for the mass? When is the church available? And then, touching base with the cemetery about getting everything all lined up and in place and things like that. So it's just taking the contract and finalizing those details. So it's nice when people come in, we can say just by the notes, this looks like this is what was talked about. They set aside their honorariums for the church. They set aside their money for their luncheon. So you pretty much know exactly what they wanted with this contract, because it's all written down there. What kind of casket or urn did they want, those kinds of things. So it's all right there in front of you. So it makes it easier to help direct them with, okay, obviously this is what they wanted. Let's just move forward and get it done for you. So it is helpful to have that in front of you.
And I think that nothing is ever set in stone. So we've had families who they look and say, oh, mom and dad put aside this money and they were just going to have the visitation and mass in one day. We would really like to have a separate night of visitation for the friends. And we're more than happy to accommodate those requests, that anything special they'd like to do as far as the services, or to add any additional services. We have the flexibility with our family business to be able to really tailor the funeral to the individual person. It's a lot of hard work. We work 7 days a week a lot of times, and we work late nights. But it's something that we really strongly believe in, and we do believe it's our calling in life, is to be able to provide the services and for a loved one who has a death. And so it is our calling. And as some people have a calling to the ministry, or some people have a calling to, my mother was a nurse and a nurse educator and a nursing author and for so many years, and that was her calling. And so her calling was to take care of the living, and our calling is to take care of the deceased.
I always encourage people to come by and see who we are, and that we are, our funeral home. We're just a small family funeral home, but we always encourage people to come by and sit down and talk with us. And we've had a lot of people come over and do that. And, we kind of just tell them about ourselves and what we do and things like that. So then they realize, oh, okay, I said, because we're not corporate owned. I said, so that's a big thing. I said, we're very much family owned.
And in the funeral business in Kansas City, most of the funeral homes are corporate owned. So you don't have the small mom and pop funeral homes anymore. You have these big, giant corporations. And I think something is lost in the translation. That I worked at a funeral home in Wichita that was a big part of a big corporation, and you didn't have that level of trust with the family. You didn't have that intimacy with the family, that you knew the family from start to finish. And you might come in the middle of everything and not really know who they are and what they wanted, and you just were going through motions. With this, we really do get to know the family very well, and they really like us sometimes to give them that personal attention that I think that we can afford families because we're so small. Talking to us is free. You don't have to use our services in order to pick our brain about something that you'd like to do, and that we can accommodate anything you'd like us to do.
Well, yeah, because we've done planning the service for Friday. It's been all done by the phone and emails.
My dad would be very proud that I have continued on, and that
because he started as an embalming business or a mortuary, so they did calls for other funeral homes, and his dad really wanted to get into this aspect of low cost funerals. So,
but when he passed, he didn't fully realize our potential, and so over the last 21 years, we've been able to really realize the potential that he really wanted the direction to go into, and being able to offer the low-cost services to families. And so he'd be very proud of us, I think, to know that we've carried on his legacy after 21 years, that I've been able to carry on and make us grow and to become what we are today.